Welcome in, investors, to another DeSci video. Today I have a special guest here with me. It is Floop. He wants to talk to you guys about what he thinks could be the next 100x opportunity in crypto, right? He's a big fan of Datalakes, and today we are going to go over Datalake with their coin, ticker symbol LAKE. What they're doing is very exciting, and I truthfully think that this could be the beginning of something large for all of science and scientific research by monetizing patient data. Sounds scary, but it's already happening behind the back, so you might as well get paid for it. Let's get right into it today. So let's get started with the Crypto Checklist 3.0. This is the framework that I am using across this entire series. I'm sorry if you hear Floop jumping around in the background. He won't leave me alone today, so yep, there he is. So this checklist is what I've been using to rank all of the DeSci projects. I am on a mission with this channel to rank every single DeSci cryptocurrency that exists. We've talked about a lot of them. Some of them don't even have coins yet. And so I figured I might as well put them into a DeSci ranking list, Put them into a tier list. So far we've just done AIMX, and now we're going to do Lake. So the main problem that it plans to solve, right? You cannot invest into anything. Like, actually, you can't invest into it. It would be gambling if you did not know what they were trying to solve, okay? If you like this kind of content, if you like these videos, make sure you do me a favor and hit that actual like button, subscribe, turn on notification bells, because we also go live, but that's enough self-shilling. So currently speaking, medical data is siloed and not put to use, which is wasted energy for the storage servers that the data is on. It's also wasted value for researchers. Researchers need as much data as possible, as much information as they can about patients and about drug trials and all that stuff. The more information researchers have, the better the research can be done, and thus hopefully better health outcomes for everyone. So why not bridge this gap? Why not use cryptocurrency to pay patients and providers to open up that information in a secure and monetizable way? So a quote directly from their website: to connect medical data sources to researchers, medicine had the potential to jump light years ahead. Probably supposed to be has, but that's right. Another one of their goals is to enable an ecosystem in which patients take a more active role in their medical data life cycle. Now, how involved people are actually going to get, we don't really know yet, but we should at least have them provide the opportunity to get involved if they so choose to. Some people just want to go through life without actually asking questions or leveling up and trying to engage their brains. Some people are just on autopilot. I firmly believe some people in this planet are NPCs, but they still provide data, and so they can get paid for that data if they want to. The value of medical data unused by hospitals is estimated to be about 80 billion pounds. So that comes out to about $100 million. And from research that I was seeing online, companies are willing to pay anywhere from 100 to 5,000 pounds to get a complete data set for a single patient, depending on the drug and how effective and how the margins on that drug and everything. If they're implementing research, they need to be able to put out a lot of money to get that data in. And so this money would just go to you and your healthcare provider, be an extra revenue source for you guys. So let's take a look at their X page here. They have 12,600 followers. They follow me. That was weird. Didn't mean to say that part. And they're pretty active here on X, which is a good sign. Their coin has been going crazy with all DeSci things in the last several months. Almost broke out to all-time highs, but didn't quite get there. Pay attention to this peak and pay attention to this peak, all right? Because we're going to talk about something towards the end of the video when we go through the tokenomics. We're going to talk about something that can't go ignored. Directly onto their website. So again, their whole ethos here is for ethical data. And you might be asking, how could you present data without giving away my personal identifiers, right? Isn't healthcare data the most personal identification that is in existence? So how could I ever give up my self-sovereignty like that for a little bit of money? I'm not going to sell my soul for it. What if I told you that there was a way to remove your personal identifiers from the data so that all that they would know is the certain biome markers about you, not know that it is your data at all? This is zero knowledge. And this is something that pretty much everyone is deploying here. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to have a product like that because people aren't going to be down for it. Patient pathways and analytics. They have a consent management system and patient engagement. They have patient registries, anonymous health data sets, and data processing governance tools. So they got kind of a whole suite here, a whole economy, if you will. They are powered by medical data donation. All right, so these companies, these institutions, I guess I shouldn't even call them institutions, these hospitals, the people who are aggregating all of the data about you, are donating it to this in the name of research. So Ethical Data Coalition, Donate Your Data Foundation, and DonateYourData.io. So they have an already existing ecosystem or suite of data coming in, which fuels the use case for the token, which we will talk about in just a moment. So now that we've kind of outlined the problem, right? Lots of data sitting in siloed without any monetization and not super high engagement from the people who are giving up the data to begin with, right? Not really, they haven't gamified anything in the current system. So how are they going to solve it? There's a really good article here which kind of goes through a decent overview of everything in Datalake, and this is their new Consentify platform that they literally just launched a couple weeks ago. I am recording this at the end of 2023 in December, and so this literally just launched, I think, a week or two ago. So background and context. I will link not only my checklist and the DeSci ranking list, but I will link the socials to Datalake so you can go scour the internet for these things as well. But I put the links in my document, so you also don't even need to. Introducing Consentify, the first blockchain-based global DeSci patient recruitment and consent management platform. Now, if you guys watched my previous video from this series on AimX, which I ranked a B, they kind of have a similar mission. So everyone right now is claiming the first for something because there's no way to really prove that. And it's like if you change it just a little bit, then technically it is the first because the other platform was in the metaverse and this one's not in the metaverse. So it's like a little nuanced opinion there. To give you a little bit of a more in-depth background on what this platform actually is so that you can understand what the company's trying to do to a higher degree of certainty. Trust me, if you're going to invest in something, you need to understand at least the bare minimum, and this video is going to go over the bare minimum for you. Unlocking the potential of medical data is crucial, yet the current landscape of patient recruitment and data access is plagued by inefficiencies, is intransparent, and even unethical at times. The fragmentation within research organizations, each building its own hermetic referral network, I don't know where my brain was going with that one, leaves the majority of healthcare providers excluded. Researchers grapple with friction in tackling referrals, compensation, and ensure participant engagement, leading to a scarcity of patients in research projects. Fear fueled by compliance and data privacy concerns deters many providers from participating in patient recruitment programs for data acquisition. As a result of this, the consequence is that nearly 80% of clinical studies experience delays, and the cost of patient recruitment comprises a staggering 40% of the overall clinical trial expenses, with recruitment costs ranging up to $5,000 per patient. Like I said in the beginning here, they're already paying $5,000, not even pounds, so that's even more pounds. Or is that less pounds? I don't know. You do the math, let me know in the comment. The global challenge of patient recruitment for clinical trials and data acquisition has surged to a $100 billion problem. Datalake was founded in 2019 by, I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce these names because it's Polish. So right now, Datalake, the company and the organization behind the Lake token, is based out of Poland. So they're very, very, very niched down into just one European country. Since Datalake has engaged with esteemed institutions like the EU Commission and collaborated with industry leaders, including top 10 global pharma companies, including AI startups, researchers, medical professionals, various healthcare entities, and DeSci projects, as they continue to get feedback, blah, 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 blah. You guys get a point of it now, right? This is a platform that aggregates patient data providers and researchers. Cool. Now, on to the next part of my checklist. Why does somebody need to buy the token? All right. Is there any reason for the token to exist, or did they just make it for a cash grab? So with ConsentFi, Lake rises as the token for researchers to finally be able to reach patients, onboard them into their research, and they envision Lake as a gateway token, enabling the participants and traditional science sector to join DeSci, the movement that is making science and biotech more efficient, accessible, and decentralized. So the token is used for access token. To filter access to ConsentFi, we will require researchers to hold a certain amount of Lake. It serves as bounties as well, so researchers may be able to set up token-based bounties and rewards for healthcare providers for including patients into the trials and their patients for joining the research. So both the provider and the patients get money. I skipped over this. With the use of Lake, small entities such as startups and researchers will have access to our platform at a minimum cost. It would strengthen the push to democratize medical research and through DeSci philosophy. And then finally, there is the benefit panel. So the token will also be used in the benefit panel of the system. These researchers can set up different benefits for providers, such as educational content, or for patients with patient support programs. I like it. I think it's a cool platform. They're very much honed in, and I think they know what they're trying to do. They've been around for a few years at this point, and they actually launched the token back in August of 2022. So pretty cool. They've been going at it for some time now. If you remember during the access token use case for ConsentFi, you saw that they would require some researchers to lock up the token to gain access through like the token being an API gateway into the data lake of patient information that they have. This is the OTC desk request form. So if you want to get the data and participate, you submit this and you'll see that they have vesting periods here. So 6-month cliff, 9-month cliff, 12-month cliff, and a 12-month vesting period. So they require the people to lock up the tokens that they get through OTC deals, right? So very intriguing. I like that, because that means that it's going to be a slow release of the coins over time. It's not just going to be an instant flood, right? If people see a monetary, like the researchers might not even understand what crypto is entirely when they get into this. And so then if all of a sudden they're just airdropped or gifted like $30,000 worth of tokens, they're going to be like, what? Let me sell this and fund my research. But that would tank the price. So they implement some vesting periods. The next question you have to ask yourself: what does it do better than its competitors? Why Datalake? Why? Well, there's not really many competitors right now. There just isn't. It's a new field. They're tapping into an untapped market. You have to keep an eye out for some competitors that are going to be present in the DeSci movement, right? Which we will go over in future videos. We're going over everything. Remember that, we're going over everything. But they are partnered, Datalake is partnered with a lot of large institutions, and beyond even just institutions, they're partnered with literal like government agencies to help out with stuff like this. So the largest diagnostics labs in Poland join a voluntary medical data donation program. This is Datalake. This is right from ECH Alliance. So I don't know that they are doing anything better than their competitors, but they have that first mover advantage, and they're really going quick with it, and they're carrying that wave as fast as they can. Now onto the juicy stuff that I know you guys are actually here for, the tokenomics. What are the tokenomics behind Datalake? So right now, you have an inflation rate, a token lockup, circulating versus diluted supply. So at launch, when they were first launching the Datalake token, they had 5% for seed A, 4% for seed round B. This is for VCs. They had 21% for strategic round. Again, this is more VCs. 3% for advisors, and 20% for the team founders. That comes up to be 53% for insiders. I don't like that. Anything more than 50% is a red flag. That is not something that you really want to see. Just putting it bluntly, it's a risk, because these guys are here for money, all right? Seed round A, B, strategic round, all of that right there, that 30% is pure, they don't care, they just want their money. The team and the founders, for the most part, are probably working based off of no salaries and are gonna wanna take their money. So you can really count on these guys to sell their tokens when they've finished the lockups. Now there are lockups, and we will touch on something because If you guys are already existing in Datalake, if you've already done your research, you're probably in the comment section right now tweaking out because this is no longer the current metrics. I just want to showcase something for you guys, which is a red flag for me personally, okay? It goes beyond just this, so hold your horses. You can post your comment because I want comments underneath the video, but hold your horses. 20% for treasury, 7% for data donor incentives, 7% for data flow animators, and then 5% for liquidity pool and 8% for liquidity provider incentives. This all changed in August. None of that is accurate information anymore because they did a 66% burn of the total supply of Datalake tokens, okay? We're going to piece together a little bit of a mystery here, and I believe I'm probably the first one to talk about this, and it is somewhat conspiratorial. You know I'm a conspiracy theorist, so you bear with me for a little bit, but that's just how my brain works. I ask questions that other people are probably not asking. So they implemented a 66% token burn. This was what they claimed it was to remove the excess coins out of circulation. The coins that were just kind of like floating around doing nothing but diluting the already existing holders. And that right there is what I have a little bit of a problem with because the supply of a token is literally irrelevant. I could make a token with one, or I could make a cryptocurrency with one token. You could make a cryptocurrency with 1 billion tokens, and it's irrelevant to the actual use case of a token, especially when they're divisible up to like 21 decimal points. It does not matter. Like at all, how many tokens are in existence in total. What matters is the circulating supply versus diluted supply, and also what matters is how many coins are being held by existing holders, right? And so what happened here with Datalake, in my opinion, and somebody correct me if you think I'm wrong here, but the team and the insiders wanted their share to be larger than what was already in existence. Okay, because the rest of the coins that were not in circulation were not going to be going directly to them. So if you burn that 66% of the supply, then your pools raise up a little bit. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, if you go look at everything, founders are here. Let me split this in half so that you guys can see this, okay? Initially, the team and the founders had 20%. Now you have founders at 10%, team at 10%, all right? That stayed the same. The advisors were at 3%. Now the advisors are still at 3%. The seed B and seed A rounds went from 4% for seed B up to 12%, and then seed A went from 5 to 15%. So they now have 3 times the amount of coins as they did, or not amount of coins. The coins didn't change. What changed was the percent that they owned of the supply, right? And then you see other things like this, which kind of back up my thesis here a little bit. There's 2 more points I'm gonna make. The treasury was 20% with 36 months of vesting. Now the treasury is not there. The data donor incentives was 7%. Now the donor incentives are 1%. The data flow animators incentive was 7%. It no longer exists either. And the liquidity pool and the liquidity provider incentives. Look at the liquidity pool now. It was 5%. Now it's 23%. The liquidity providers were 8%. And now it's 12%. So they increased liquidity and isolated some more liquidity with the seed A and seed B rounds, which coincides pretty much perfectly with their vesting period ending. So when you invest into a cryptocurrency early days as a seed investor, you have a lockup period where you can't sell anything, and then you have a vesting period where you slowly are able to sell more and more. That's so that they don't just jump right out of it as soon as it launches, and you can reliably not tank the price of the coin. Coincidentally, as their cliff and as their vesting period is ending, remember I said they launched the token in August of 2022. Now it's 16 months since then, and all of a sudden they rearranged the tokenomics to make it so that there's more liquidity, probably for the insiders to get out. That's my conspiracy theory here. Maybe I'm looking too deep in it. Maybe there's something else there that I've totally overlooked, but nonetheless, it's one of the flags. Kind of weird. It also corresponds perfectly with this liquidity pool that they have up, which I am partaking in. I'm in the liquidity pool, right? In which I'm staking my lake paired with wrapped Ethereum so that there can be liquidity, and I'm getting some incentives back with it. That ends in March, I believe, and that again corresponds just perfectly. So I think that's what happened there. I don't think there was any need to actually burn the tokens. With all of that being said, I like Datalake. I hold it. You have to understand that if you're going to hold it, there is a risk that it's probably going to crash pretty shortly, right? When we see these VCs start selling off a lot of their coins, I imagine it's going to go through a pretty rough patch, a little bit of a correction, if you will. It's kind of doing it right now, but that's just the entire DeSci market. I hold it, and I am going to place Datalake. Let me do Control-C in the A tier. It's a novel thing, and yes, the insiders dumping their coins is going to be a little painful, but at the end of the day, that's what they were there for the entire time. If you have VCs, they're going to get in early days, they're going to make a ton of money, and then they're going to get out with a liquidity event. That's just like IPOing in the stock market. All an IPO is a liquidity event for insiders to reap some of the rewards. So Datalake needed money to get started. The VCs gave them some money. They made a product which hopefully is successful. It looks like it's likely going to be successful. They got a lot of partnerships, and they got a strong community behind it. And now they need the opportunity to get out and continue doing what VCs do. So you just need to be aware of it, all right? That's all you got to be aware of, is that those vesting periods are there. I'm rambling. Your time's your most valuable asset. Hopefully you found this worth investing into. We have another visitor here. Bird came to join and say hi as well. So shout out both the cats for being here today. I'll see you guys in the next video.